Hello, beautiful being. Welcome to the official first episode of the Akashic Record podcast. I'm so excited for this. The Akashic Records are so excited for this. We're in for a ride, and I have playing with this idea for a long time, and I really feel the best way to start off this series is by start talking about being because there has been a lot of talk around it, but the language most of the time falls short to really describe this place of being. And you hear it so many times like, oh my, you're so much in your doing, you're so much in your mind, you need to become more in your being. I need to be more in touch with my being. But what does that mean? And how can you make that in a way practical? I have been really challenged the last couple of weeks by really living from this place. And a coach of mine guided me and and I we discovered a mental pattern that was running my business, that was running this YouTube channel, that was running things that was very much in the doing. And it was based on like life would be better when this video would be finished. Life would be better when I would have done the administration. Life would be better when I would have wake up 2 hours earlier so that I could do more work. And he pointed me this pattern out. And I was like, whoa, I thought I was completely living from my being. And actually, I was not. I was still in a kind of my mind and a future projection and kind of moving towards that, creating a lot of pressure and a lot of stress on me that is not, is like, yeah, that's how I was running part of my business, but that's not how I want to run my business. This is a conscious spiritual business. This should always come from being. But how do you do that? Because when I went into my being, when he showed me this pattern and I went into my being, I just meditated. I did nothing. I just sat with it. And I realized that I had a very powerful mind that was constantly wanting to do things, and it had many reasons when it wanted to do things. But every time I could find the fear behind it, or the worry behind it, or the stress behind it, and because of that, I was like, hey, this is a thought out of stress. I don't want to act out of stress. Hey, this is a thought out of fear or worry. And I will give you some examples in a moment. And then I was just being in my being, and that felt so boring. I was like, come on, we should do something. Come on, we have people to serve. We have a business to run. We have videos to create. Like, come on, why are you sitting here? But that was still part of this pattern. Another thing that was happening when I was just like, my mind was also, okay, this sounds good, being in my being, but how to get into my being? How to get into my being? This is again, and this is so sneaky, this is again part of the same mental pattern that was I was kind of having in me, because we're already in our being. It's our being. It's what we're chilling in all the time. So how to get into my being was again how to get somewhere in the future where my life is better pattern, right? Oof. And that kept on running and running. And when I started realizing that I had this pattern and that I was running on this pattern, there was an outer shell of me very excited because I was finally doing what I love to do. And I was finally, I went from my 9 to 5 programming job to doing this. This is my true passion. So I loved it. And there was like an excitement layer on top of me. But when I really started to go in my being, I started to feel that below that level of excitement, there was a lot of tiredness. I felt so tired underneath. I felt so tired from running on my mind. I didn't took time to rest and to rejuvenate because I was constantly talking with people and serving people, and I have the group coaching experience, and I have my daily practice sessions with the Akashic Records, and was constantly running, 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 and creating videos, running, running, running. So there was a big tiredness within. And I feel because of my coach pointing me towards that, I was actually I was actually realizing that I catch myself early. If I would run a little bit longer on these patterns, I would have burned out myself. I would not, yeah, I would kind of not see it, not see it, not see it, and all of a sudden crash, right? But because it was seen early, I was able to catch it early. Now, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I just have been in my being. And every time I wanted to create a video like this, I had an idea and then I was like, but where does this come from? And then I felt the stress. I felt like you have to create this video because you want to make your subscribers happy. You have to make this video because the YouTube algorithm otherwise will not like your YouTube channel anymore and it will not spread your video. You will not be consistent, and that's one of the things the algorithm is running on, that I'm consistent, right? So I needed to start be okay with breaking my consistency streak for the sake of being. Because let's be honest, like, what would you have more? What would you have, like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer letting me make videos to give you a lot of value, but to also like constantly get your attention and just make something up and then create a video that, because it's then in consistency with a weekly releasing pattern? Or would you love to make videos when it truly comes from my being, when there is truly inspiration that came out of meditation, where there is truly a new idea that is bubbling, that excites me so much that I want to tell you about it, but not because of the likes or because of the views or because of the YouTube algorithm or because of the leads or because of the all of that business stuff. I don't want to run on that. I want to run this channel, my business, because it truly comes out of my being. It comes out of my heart. I want to share it with you. I feel so, I cannot wait to share it with you, right? But that required some repatterning. So if you see my YouTube um, cadence, you see I stopped. I didn't release for a couple weeks, and that was hard. That was not easy because I was having consistency. I was like, I needed to catch myself so many times. Like, is this thought truly coming from inspiration and beingness? Or is it actually stress? Is it actually fear that I will not have any views anymore, right? And a lot of it at the beginning, especially the first week, I had days where I woke up full of, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. But I was like, but I'm going to be in my being. And then a whole day I just meditated and I did do nothing. And I needed to be okay with all these thoughts that were running out of stress, all these thoughts that were judging me that I was doing nothing, right? At the end of the day, come on. You had a day full of stuff, and the only thing you were doing is meditating. You lazy ass. Like, that was like what I was saying to myself. And I even noted down, like, wow, my mind finds my being self a lazy ass. That's not a pattern that I want to run on. I want to run on my being. So it's going to be very hard if my mind thinks you're such a lazy ass to actually be in your being, right? You will have a battle going on with mind and being. And I had that. So I want to go deep on this topic in this very first episode. And I think it's an amazing start of this podcast series. This is the official episode. If you follow me, I did an episode 0 that I will also maybe release officially on Spotify at one point, but at the moment it's only on my YouTube. This I plan to release, if you're watching this, on YouTube or on Spotify. I want to try them both first and maybe expand later. And this is the very first episode of the Akashic Record podcast. So thank you. We're going to go deep into being. And I wanted to start this first season off with me and the Akashic Records. So, what I will do in every episode, I will connect with the Akashic Records. And as I'm talking, as I'm exploring and unpacking a topic with you that is of high value to me, I will, in the episode, regularly go into channelings, mini channelings, where I just ask the Akashic Records, hey, can you add to this? Can you tell us something? Sometimes maybe a question will arise that I don't know, and I just will go to the Akashic Records and I will channel them directly for you. So at the moment, it's going to be a conversation with you and me and the Akashic Records, but it will at the moment come from me. But that's the first season. And I feel the second season, I would love to add other Akashic Record readers and teachers and my students to see how this Akashic Records vibration comes through other people. I don't want to be I don't want to be a one man band. I want to give the stage to as much Akashic record readers, people that are using the Akashic records in some different way than reading. Um, I want to give the stage to them. It's an amazing field. It can be used in so many different ways. I want to show you in this channel how to do that, right? And maybe season 3, because it's a 3, maybe we'll do it in group conversations with small groups, right? I don't know. I'm contemplating here. I'm setting it up and talking and thinking out loud as I go. But this is kind of my how I see it, and I want to start this first season with me, you, and the Akashic Records, and I want to explore the very first episode that we're here now, being. So let's dive in. Let's start with just all taking a deep breath together and relax and make a very soft exhale. Maybe do that just one more time. Breathe in through the nose. Deep inhale, like fill up your belly, fill up your chest. And then just exhale, and you breathe and exhale very slowly through nose or mouth, whatever you prefer. Now let's do just one more time, just because it feels so good and is so good for you. And maybe this time you can visualize all of the things that you don't need anymore, that your breath is collecting that in your body. And as soon as you fill yourself up, you scoop a little bit more air in, you hold it, and you let all of these things circulate. And on your exhale, you drop it all down, you flush it all away. Now just feel for a moment your body, your being. My intention is to start from this place of being. I'm done with letting the mind run my life, creating pressure and stress and anxiety, placing me out of the moment too many times. And I love my mind. I love my ego. Don't get me wrong. I'm not neglecting it, shoving it away. But the place where I want to center myself in as much as possible is a state of being. And it's very hard for the mind to understand this. And that's why I want to unpack it. So that's why we have this episode here. That's why I want to start here. It's a great way to start. Great point of origin in any project, in any direction. Before you start working, what if you take a couple deep breaths and just ask yourself, what wants to be created through me today? Oof. Would your work be any different? Right? That's how I started my day, and that's how this video came into mind. It came true. And I don't want to have, I have a to-do list of videos that I want to create for you, many ideas, but some of them came from mental excitements. And now I just want to wake up and I'm like, which surface wants to move through to me? Which wisdom wants to move through to me? And I will just do that. But how to get there, the mind asks. How to go from a place of being, how to run the business from a place of being, how to run your life from a place of being. And that's the mind trying to understand this concept. The thing is, the state of being is a bigger state than the state of mind. All right, so If the state of mind is a circle, the state of being is a bigger circle around it. And it's very hard for the mind to understand the bigger circle around it. It needs to be experienced. It's hard to understand. And that's why it's very hard to talk about this. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why a lot of people that are meditators or yogis or spiritual people, they sound woohoo to the people that are very mentally organized and run on mental processes. It sounds very woo. Why? Because there's not much language to describe, in most languages at least, this state. The state is without words. How to describe a state that is without words? How to describe a state that in a way is infinite to a finite mind? It's 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 interesting, and even I will probably struggle with the words while I'm here describing it to you, and it's okay. I want to be okay with being uncomfortable, expressing what I'm pointing towards. So with this whole podcast, and especially this episode, when you're listening to this, let's listen two ways. Let's listen, of course, with our ears, but also let's listen with our whole body. Let's listen for the experience. Let's listen for where the words are pointing to and not necessarily what they mean, but where they are pointing to, and maybe also where they are coming from. Because I'm here trying to be in my heart and in my being as much as possible. But a very logical way to actually get there is being aware of where your focus comes from, where you're coming from. Because your being comes literally from your being, from your head all the way to your toe, and even around your head and around your toe. So if you would draw a circle around your body, and you will be aware of all of it, so when you're sitting here and you're listening to this, and you're not only focusing on your senses, but you're also focusing on how your belly is feeling. You're maybe also focusing on your chest, and maybe just by focusing on it, you start to feel your heartbeat. You're focusing on your feet, on your legs, on your arms. While you're listening to this, you become more into your being. So one of the hows that the mind really wants to know is, okay, move your focus, that most of the time comes from where most of the senses are at located and the mind is located, and expand that focus to your whole body. Try to watch all of it and not only this. This, for me, automatically moves me more into my being. So then I will be more aware when something happens. I'm not only seeing what happens, but actually I feel my heartbeat racing a little bit. Or I feel I'm getting sweaty. Or I feel I'm getting stressful. Right? Someone is talking and I start to feel, oh wow, my body's producing stress. Interesting. But if I would only listen from my mind, I would not feel that so much. It's when I focus my energy completely on this whole picture where I become literally more in my being instead of coming from the mind. Now, another thing that the being is always having is the being is always centered in the moment. The mind has the capability to move into past and future scenarios, most of them made up, but that's maybe a topic for another podcast. Maybe I can go into it later, but most of the past and futures is or inaccurate memory, even though we may think we have a very accurate memory. You don't. Probably a story that happened 10 years ago, you repeat it and sometimes made it a little bit better and sometimes changed it a little bit without you knowing. And the story that you tell now is not at all the real story that happens. Sorry that I need to break it to you, but it's been proven many times that our memory is not accurate. And our future predictions are definitely not accurate. The amount of times you have been anxious and the situation didn't happen. Come on. Let's be honest here. That's at least for me. Oof. Right? Like the amount of times that I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I don't hope that's gonna happen. And like I've been worrying for days and then didn't happen. Didn't need to worry at all. Oh no, I don't know if I'll come on time with my plane, and maybe my plane is delayed, and I don't know if my plane is delayed, if I can still go to the meeting. Nothing of that happened. I just worried for nothing. All of that energy that didn't help me at all, and nothing happened. So our future projections, they're not accurate. Our past projections are not accurate. They can help us. They have a function. And when we start using them in our favor, they can really help us with manifestation, with healing, with changing energies. They're amazing tools. But the being is in the being. The being is in the now. The being is here. There is only one moment, and that's constantly this moment. As if there is a pointer, an arrow that's constantly here, 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 here. It's not centered anywhere else. As soon as to say the word here, that's already in the past. I'm already further in my being. My being is always here, in the now. And that's another way to get into the being. Is to focus on everything and notice that, the heart is not able to go into future or past. Or the arm. The arm is always in the now, or the belly is always in the now. The belly is not the lungs or the belly are never thinking like, oh, I don't hope that the breath that I'm gonna take next weekend is going to fail me. No. It probably, when you're inhaling, doesn't even think about the exhale that comes after it. It's just in the now. When it's inhaling, it's just busy with that inhale. And when it's exhaling, it's just busy with that exhale. And the more you become aware of it, the more delicious your body starts to feel. Oof. And I wish I could explain that to words, because if you feel the deliciousness of being, if you just glimpse it, oof, it's so good. Like that I'm sometimes thinking to myself, because I had many glimpses. I'm sometimes thinking in my mind, again, why am I not more in my being if it feels so good? If my breath gets more delicious, if my senses get more delicious, if I start to feel the air that touches my skin more, which is an amazing feeling. I become more connected with my surroundings. I'm become more connected with the people that are walking on the street behind me, because I'm sensing their presence. I'm hearing their sounds. I start to become aware of everything. When you're in your being, you actually get very tuned into this moment. And that's, for me, one of the craziest mind fucks there was and is still, is a lot of people that are in the mind that hear people talk about being think it's woo woo, and it's getting way better, of course, but still there is this spiritual hype that's going on that I don't think really is coming from their being. They are actually still in their doing, but they just made it spiritual and angelic and, oh, look at us. But you feel when something is present in their being. You just feel it when you have a conversation with them. You feel it when they are just listening, and they're not thinking what to say next or to respond. They're just listening, just in the moment, present with you, receiving your words instead of thinking how to react to your words. And you feel when someone is in their being. You feel it. It's so easy to feel. It's a little bit harder to feel on the inside, maybe, but when you start to practice this, oof, it becomes so delicious that you can choose between a delicious state and a state that feels very narrow focused and mind centered and stressful. And then you're like, oh, I can be here, connected with everything, and I can be very stressful and in my mind. The choice becomes easier and easier the much you practice this. And what I wanted to get to was this mindfuck. So, mind people, I will call them mind people, almost like in Harry Potter muggles, but that's not, don't want to, I'm talking in this distinction to make it more clear. I don't want to um, ridicule or somehow put the mind down. They're two different states. They both have their purposes. I believe our evolution is to move from mind to being more and more and more. That doesn't mean that the state of mind is bad. Just like the caterpillar moves through the cocoon, moves into a butterfly, that doesn't mean that the cocoon and the caterpillar are less valuable than the butterfly. There would be no butterfly if there would be no cocoon and no caterpillar. So coming from the mind, I don't think is bad. It's a necessary part of our evolution and should be accepted fully. Otherwise, you never escape it. It should be loved and accepted fully, this state. So when I talk about this, please don't think that I'm like, mind and yay, being. It's for me just to express as clear as I can this topic, right? Okay, the mindfuck. I feel I'm digressing a lot. The mindfuck is people that coming from the mind that hear someone talk about being, they're like, man, this is woo. You're talking about being and feeling energy and being more connected, and man, let's just talk about business. Let's just talk about making money, or let's just talk about which sports won, like I don't care about all this being stuff. And I believe that has to do with the language. There is no better language for it. If I would say, for example, man, do you want to be in a delicious state right now? That's already more than, do you want to be in your being? Do you want to be in a delicious state? Do you want to feel delicious right now? I can bring you into a delicious state in a matter of minutes. They're like, oh, wow, I want to try that. And I can bring them to their being. It will be more attractive. But the words really describing it are rare and scarce. And the state is actually undescribable in words. So it becomes woo-woo. The language is vague, and therefore the mind person thinks, this is very vague. But here is the mindfuck. This person is so much more the opposite of woo-woo than the mind person. And let me explain. The mind person is thinking constantly from the small place here, and is a lot of times entertaining inaccurate future and past things, phenomenons. So the mind person is like here, like they're focusing on their mental screen or on their mental thoughts. Just like you're in a bus or in public transport and you see 90% of the people on their phone. Does that feel they're connected and down to earth? They're just completely with their mind there. Like, it doesn't matter if you're with your mind there or with your mind in your thoughts. That's not connected. That's woo-woo. You're in the clouds, man. You're like, you're there. You're playing with mental concepts. While the person that's actually in their being, they feel their feet on the ground. They feel the air touching the skin. They feel the air moving in their nostrils. They're aware of how deep their breath is and how beautiful their lungs are moving with their body. They maybe even feel their blood circulating. They feel their health and vitality. That's so much more connected and down to earth than the person that's just in their mind constantly and future, past, thinking, right? So the person that is doing this says to the person that's fully connected and here and feels everything, feels the earth under their feet, on their skin, and that person that's like, oh man, oh, you're so woo-woo. Isn't that the craziest mindfuck? They think that person of their being is woo-woo, while the being person just sees them thinking and sees them in their mind. And of course, most people that are there, they will only respond with love and acceptance. But it's such a reversed engineered thing. And it's therefore so laughable and so good in a way, because you can only find empathy and love, and it's such a, it's almost humor, right? Like, oh wow, you call me woo woo? Just like, look at you, bro. It's like that. And I had many moments in my own, and I'm not there yet. I'm still so much thinking. I had such a thinking mind. Oh my God. I'm very happy because I started meditating very young because of it. I found very luckily out that alcohol was helping me to get out of my mind, but was definitely not the right medicine to stay out of my mind. And then I switched from alcohol to meditation on a young age when I was still in my first years of university. And now I'm meditating for 11 years. And I'm so happy with that. But still, like I told you, I thought I was present enough, but it's a journey, it's an evolution. It will keep on evolving. And in that journey, I thought I was present. I thought I was running my business in a conscious way. And I just saw like a pattern that was so mental and so in the future for the first time. And then I was catching it in in a lot in making my videos, in trying to be in a better state of mind, and to running my day, running my structure, running my agenda, like it was constantly blah, 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 in the future still. And when I saw that process that was first on the background, it came to the foreground, I literally stopped almost all of my business. And I just sat with me. Oof. And I'm so grateful because I know I still remember where I came from. I still remember the state of mind that had so many thoughts, that I couldn't act because my thoughts were so strong and based in insecurity, that I was like shy and I couldn't act. And sometimes I was in a social situation. I was like, oh, I want to say hi, but maybe I shouldn't say hi. But I don't know if my hair is good. Maybe I should first go to the toilet and see how my hair is going. And then my thoughts would be like, but I don't have a drink. Maybe I look cooler when I have a drink in my hand. And I was like, okay, I'll come. And then I first, before I wanted to just go to the person and say hi, I first went to the toilet when I still had hair. I checked my hair. That's how long ago. And I checked my hair, and then I ordered some drink, and then I tried to build up the courage, but or the person was already away, or my mental processes were so loud and constant that I would have convinced myself it would not be the right moment, or I didn't know what to say, or who is me to talk with this person, or and all these thoughts were just you would from the outside you would see me standing there a little bit head banging on the music, and from the inside it was like maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe not, maybe that, that was my mind. And I remember that where I come from. And it's amazing what is possible when you start meditation. Now, meditation for me is one of the most purest forms to go into being, because you're practicing it and it stays for a longer period. So you really sit down with yourself and you observe everything. And I mean silence meditation. I started and I still do silence meditation. So just I put a timer on Insight Timer, which is an amazing app. I'm not sponsored by it at all, but I highly recommend Insight Timer. Um, place a Put a timer there. I never do a guided meditation. I just place a timer there for now at the moment, most of the time, an hour. And an hour long in the morning, I just sit with myself in silence. And that sounds uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. It is definitely uncomfortable. A lot of people think, oh, it's so still and it's so peaceful. No, meditation can be hard, man. Meditation can be messy. But it's by you seeing your messiness that the rest of the day is super clear. It's just like um, instead of you just running your day, and you wake up and you take a coffee and you go to work, or you wake up and you watch your social media and your and WhatsApp and you go to work. Instead of that, you start first to sit with yourself and see all the thoughts and all the feelings and all the things that are present in your body, and you're kind of cleaning your window. You're kind of cleaning your car window, your vehicle window. And at the end of, in my case, an hour, but it can be 30 minutes or 20 minutes, even 5 minutes if you just start, is more than enough. to start with this. You you first cleaned your window, your window of consciousness, your window of awareness. And then you move into the rest of your day with a clean window. Now you can understand that you just imagine yourself or in a clean window or driving in a completely dirty window with no swipes. You can imagine that when you would drive your whole day in a vehicle with a dirty window, you're making mistakes. You're not seeing things that are there. You're sometimes taking a road that you shouldn't take, or you're missing a road that you should have taken. And that's why I really believe meditation, even though a lot of people say it takes a lot of time, it actually saves a lot of time. Yes, I'm sitting an hour, but I'm making maybe, I don't make mistakes during the day for 3 hours. Maybe if I would drive in a dirty window that day, I would probably had a couple of detours and things, and that kind of made an extra 3 hours in my day. So what would you choose? Drive in a dirty window and have the possibility of 3 hour and 5 hour detours? Or first clean your window before you start driving and are very sure that you won't take any detours and you're not missing the many opportunities that are present in the day, right? So what I love about meditation when it comes to being is it makes it easier and easier and easier because you're doing kind of you do the pre-work. You're sitting with yourself. You're really sitting with your being and you're observing it in the most boring state, in silence. Lots of reasons to be distracted, a lot of reasons to stand up and do something else. And you just keep on being there, sitting there, watching your thoughts, watching yourself get crazy. Observe it, observe it, observe it. The more you become the observer, the more you become your beer, the being. The more you are your mind, the more you are the doer. And like it's so beautiful said, we're not we're not a yummy, we're not a human doing, we're a human being, right? So this topic for me is very special. One of the reasons it's very special is that in my journey, and it started 2 years ago, my journey started 11 years ago with meditation and personal development. But 2 years ago, the universe got quite direct with me. And every time I was not in my being, I would have bumped my head or shatter a glass or bump my toe or get wet or almost got run over by a car, or like was eating something, was thinking about it, and it would immediately splash on my shirt, and my shirt would be dirty. And it was teaching me to be in my being. Like it was really like as soon as I started to go into my thinking, I got punished. And because I was becoming more and more aware of my day, every time I was like, I started to see the pattern. Like, oh wow, every time I'm bumping myself or letting something fall or doing something wrong, or like it's an immediate kind of feedback. Every time I look back on it, like, was I thinking? Yes, I was thinking. Was I thinking when I just bumped? Yes, I was thinking. Was I, it was always a yes. And then I was like, oh wow, the universe is actually teaching me to become more present. And then I started to really, I needed it. It was kind of like direct, like my life was not fun anymore by just thinking. It was not so forgiving anymore as it was in the past. And it was really like, just like, get in there, get into that, get into that zone of the present moment. And every time you're not, something will be flying to your head, or you will create some pain somewhere in your body. It was very, very hard and very direct, but it made me more aware of it and of this topic. And it made me so aware that I made my first tattoo here. Um, and I will maybe show you a picture of it. Like if I can show you here. No, it's hard to get that angle right. I can maybe show you a picture of my tattoo. That means for me a constant reminder to stay in my being. It was so hard that I was like, I want to have a constant reminder on my forearm so that I know that I need to be in my being, right? And since then, I've been helping many people do the same thing in my coaching, in the many meditations that we're doing. It's a beautiful thing, and it's very near and dear to me to be in this state. But it's also a constant evolution. I'm not there yet. It's not that oh guys, I found the state of being and come here with me. It's amazing here. It's a constant practice. It's a constant um, catching of the mind and of its many. Some mental patterns are very obvious, but the more you start to go in there, the more sneaky they become, the more background and subtle they become. So you need to catch yourself in more subtler and subtler ways that are harder to catch. But it's so amazing because every time you catch yourself, like I just did, right? Like, okay, it's not nice. Like, like what happened to me 2, 3 weeks ago when my coach catch something that I was not able to see. Literally stopped. I just was like, wow, this is so true, and I really need to be in my being. I really need to be here. Wow. And then I just meditated for so many hours, and every time I wanted to do something that came out of a stressful place, I just like, hey, this also comes from a stressful place. Let me be in the moment here. Let me be here. Oh man, that was not easy. But what comes out of that, like the thing that I'm doing here with you, like this conversation, right? It's coming from a deeper place. It doesn't come from a place of I want to convince you, or I want to make more YouTube leads, or I want to make more views, or what. Even if this video gets no views, it doesn't matter. I will share with the same excitement and spirit because it comes from my being. It's not linked with that anymore. And that's an amazing feeling that recharges me. Instead of trying to make content and tiring me out, it feels like this is just recharging me as I'm speaking. I love it. I love this new way of creating. And I just felt, oh my God, I was still so much on my old way of creating. And now it feels more present, more in my new way of creating. So, hey, if you're thinking like, he's constantly drinking from such a interesting, weird bottle. Like, what is this? This is amazing. This is what I call my U fountain. This is a beautiful quantum technology that is re-enlivening and activating my water. It doesn't make bubbles, it makes active hydrogen. And not only that, it makes a lot of it. A lot of hydrogen bottles are not working, they're just gimmicky. This one really works. And not only that, there's been frequencies at the top of here that are being sent. If you, for example, know the Healy device sends frequencies. It's a quantum technology. The same doctor and inventor that has helped with the Healy device frequencies has invented this bottle, and it has been changing my life. I now do it for the last 2 months. I have it now, maybe three, and oof, my energy is so much better. My sleep is better. I get so much more things done. Every time I just feel a little bit I'm getting cold or I'm getting sick, I drink a couple of this and I feel back alive. What is even more awesome is that here in the lower part, there are a couple of magnets that are kind of creating a torus field that helps the water and the magnetic field of the earth to activate the water. And at the top, maybe you can see it. I don't know if you can see it. There is a UV light that is simulating the sun, and it's putting a lot of the good frequencies, just like Healy is putting frequencies. It's putting frequencies in the water. As we all know by now, water is able to store a lot of frequency. So if this device is putting a lot of good stuff, so it's making active hydrogen, it's magnetizing it, it's putting UV light in it, it's putting frequencies into it. And then if you drink water like that, oof, it's a whole different experience. This thing completely reactivates the water. Now, what's even more amazing is that when you invest in this bottle, you're not only investing in your health, but you get a personal link. And with every link, with every person that buys through your link, you receive 100 euros back. So this, I can give you my link right now. This link will give you a discount. It will be under 500 euros. And then if you just share that link with 5 other people that all would feel more amazing by drinking this water, you have a free bottle. It's just an investment. You will have it back in no time. It's so good. I love it. So if you're interested in it, if you're interested in water, if you're interested in vitality, if you're interested in becoming more youthful, go and check out this bottle. It's called LumiVitae, and my link is phil.lumivitae.com. You will help my channel out. I'm not sponsored by them. I just love it, and I will probably do a review on it as well. I just wanted to let you know that it's something that I really value and I want to share with you. Okay, let's get back to the episode. It's just so beautiful. Let's all take another deep breath together. And when you exhale, just land in your being. I really visualize. I really use my imagination as well to get me into my being, which maybe sounds counterintuitive, but it's actually very powerful. Where I breathe in, gather, just notice where the energy is, and then exhale, and I really visualize my focus moving onto my whole body and landing there, kind of landing. It feels amazing. So I would love to let you experience the state that I'm talking about because it's way more an experience and a state of being than actual than actual thing to talk about. So the breath is a great way to get there. But still you will feel your mind active and that's okay. There's a lot of people that think, "Oh, but my mind should be peaceful. My mind should be still." No, 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 no. Your mind should be whatever your mind is at this moment. Right? That's the trick. Whatever your mind is at this moment, let it be that. If it's anxious, it's okay. If it's worried, it's okay. If it's thinking, "I cannot do it," let it think, "I cannot do it." It's not about the mind, this state. Let the mind be the mind. Let the mind be in whatever state it is. But just take a deep breath in. And maybe even with me, when you exhale, slowly exhale and visualize that you're focusing on your whole body from head to toe. And maybe even draw a circle around your body. And then from this place, we take another big breath in. And we exhale again, slowly. And you keep your focus on your whole body. All right, just land in that space of your whole body. All right. And when you breathe a little slower and a little deeper, for example, on your next in breath, notice if you feel the air going into your nose. And notice that you can notice your belly and your chest expanding at the same time. And on your exhale, also notice the air moving out. While you can still focus on your whole body and feeling yourself landing into your whole body. Now, isn't it from this state much easier to notice your heartbeat? Maybe you don't even have to do anything for it, it's just chilling there, but you're all of a sudden open to that information. While when you're thinking a lot, that is clouded, that you don't, that the information is there, but you're only will notice it when it's racing. But in this moment, it's not racing. But just by focusing your whole body, it's so much easier to just feel your heartbeat. You don't have to pulse or measure or listen. It's just there. It's just beating there. It's always there. Notice while you're there also, can you feel the temperature of the air touching on your skin? And maybe you notice a place in your body where you are holding stress. Now just breathe into that. Let that also be there. Like it will only really move when you accept it. And maybe you still are also noticing the mind, and the mind is this working? Am I doing it all right? Or whatever it is. Or this is not working. I want to do something else. Or this is boring. Can we watch another video? Or whatever the mind is doing. Let it also just be there. Let it be bored. Let it be not wanting this because it's afraid in a way. It feels on a deep level you will not save. You are not safe or enough if you land in this place. An untrained mind, and mind is still untrained. I'm not there yet. I know there will be a point where my mind will behave differently, but my mind is still in a place where it wants to distract me from this being state. But in a way, it feels so delicious to be here. And from this state, it actually becomes easier and easier when you're thinking. Just as an experiment, why don't we switch it up? And just for 10 seconds, we're in our being as we are now. So let's take a deep breath. And we're just for the next 10 seconds. 8, 7, be your being. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now think about something. Think about, for example, what you need to do today. And feel what is happening in your body as soon as you start thinking. My forehead starts to contract. All of a sudden, oh, what do I need to do? Oh, I have a breathwork session that I need to prepare. Starts to think about things, and then, okay, and let's now take another deep breath. You may continue that thinking or not, but go back into your being. Accept the mind for what it is and go back into your being. Wasn't it quite easy to see that change in state? And which one do you feel is more delicious? Now let me tell you, the more you stay here, the more delicious it gets. Also, you become more aware of the pain you're holding inside of yourself, which is not delicious. Of course, it's painful, it's uncomfortable. But out of you observing that, actually the pain is easier to leave. When you would be not able to even feel it, it will stay on the background running the show. And the more love you can give and the more acceptance you can give to whatever discomfort is there, the easier it can move through you. And therefore, it becomes again very delicious. Because I had many times where I felt a pain. I even feel a pain now in my left hip. Let it be there. But how sometimes just by being in your being, oh wow, there's a pain there, and you're just accepting it for what it is. And okay, you can be here. And all of a sudden, it starts bubbling and it starts moving, and it moves upward through the belly, and all of a sudden, it comes into the heart, and it's just, and the pain is gone. And I'm like, what? The first time that happened, and many times that happened, I was like, what just happened there? And what I learned was acceptance and seeing it for what it is, not over-analyzing it, not, oh, where did that come from? That's immediately the mind wanted to take you to the past. No, it's like, oh, there's a pain here right now. Okay, I accept it. No over-analyzing, no wanting to push it away, just being here with it. As if somebody else just came into the room, in a waiting room, and you're just both sitting in the room together. You're like, okay. We're just both chilling here. That's good. All of a sudden, you create the right space for it to move. And when it's able to move, it may show you things. It may move to a different place. It may maybe is a pain that is and based in your feet and based in your hip and based in your shoulder. And all of a sudden it moves from your feet to your hip to your shoulder and it's gone. And you're like, wow. Yeah, that's what's happening a lot when you're in the being. And then after that, you're even more lighter. You're more pain free. You feel that weights are dropping out of your shoulders when you're in this state. So let's take another deep breath because there was a lot of information and maybe you naturally moved a little bit to the mental space. That's okay. We accept all. Take another deep breath and there we go again into the being. Lands in there. All right. And it's also I had did a group coaching this week and a beautiful lady came to my class and she said like, wow, I have chronic stress and I don't know how to meditate and I have so many things that I need to do and cannot find time for it and feel so stressful and I feel my stress is actually sabotaging my life, blah blah. So she was in that mode. And I just said, okay, let's start with a couple of deep breaths. And I just guided her through similar thing as this, a little bit more in depth and personal, but quite similar as this. And then at one point I said like, hey, can you be like you just been here for the last 5 minutes? Do you think you can do this for another 5 minutes? I said, yeah, yes, of course. And do you think you can then do it for another 10 minutes? Yes, of course. And then it's like, oh, but then you already meditated for 20 minutes. And I was like, ah, and she just didn't realize that she was actually already just observing her being, which I believe is one of the purest form of meditation. If you can observe your being with acceptance, and every time you're thinking, the only thing you're doing is, and you catch yourself, I was thinking, and you take a deep breath and you move back into your being. And for some, it helps to focus on their breath, to kind of have an anchor point, or to focus on a mantra that you constantly repeat, or maybe focus on a visual. Maybe you see an infinity sign that just moves based on the breath. It can all help to keep you in the moment. And then whenever you're like, hey, I'm not seeing the infinity sign anymore, I must be thinking, and you move yourself back to the infinity sign. Or hey, I'm not aware of my breath anymore. I'm gonna go back to my breath. You go back to the breath. Every time that happens is the biggest win. It's the biggest celebration. You can almost you can almost imagine there is a whole stadium of guides and angels and divine beings that's like, yes, yes, he catches his thought again. Yes. I was also saying to this coaching client, like the only place where catching your mind can come from is outside of your mind. It automatically comes from the observer, right? So as soon as you, and this is a little bit this is a little bit meta talking, but bear with me, I think you're gonna get this. If you're thinking and you're in your thinking, you're just constantly thinking, and what that, and what about this, and what about this, and what will happen if I do that, and blah, 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 and you're constantly in that thinking. But then when you catch yourself, and you maybe you're meditating, and maybe you go very subtly into a train of thought, and you're for 3 or 5 minutes in that train of thought, and all of a sudden you catch yourself. A lot of people are like, oh no, what did I do? I was meditating and I didn't do it right because now I was thinking. And they're blaming themselves, thinking even more, judging themselves, making them feel of a lower vibration, making it harder for them to start meditation again. But in reality, you just did the most powerful and profound action you could ever done in meditation, and that was catching your thought. So every time you're thinking and then you're catching your thoughts, that's still part of the meditation. That's still part of you observing yourself. And as soon as you catch it, you go back to your breath, back to your being. That's the whole deal. That's the whole deal of meditation. And if you can do that for 2 minutes, you can do it for four, you can do it for six, you can do it an hour, you can do it 2 hours. You can just extend that process indefinitely. And we already did it. We just did it for a couple minutes. So that you can definitely do that a couple minutes more. But instead of when you're thinking and catching yourself like, oh no, I was not in my being anymore. That's not acceptance. That's not love. That's actually judgment and self blame. You don't need that. You really don't need that. It doesn't have any positive function in your life. Instead of that, you can celebrate. Yes, I catched myself. That's another catch. Amazing. And you go back into your being. And maybe you will go off again and you catch yourself again. Wow, I catch that one too. Wow. And you go back into your being. You can imagine how fun meditation will get then, right? It really starts to become a really fun, gamified observing of yourself that you learn more and more and more about yourself while you are seeing yourself. I sometimes even say it's my best Netflix series. It's the very best Netflix series because it's constantly about me and what I'm feeling and what I'm going through and emotions that I've been stuffed inside of me and traumas that I experienced, and it's just moving out of me constantly with revelation after revelation. And sometimes I have the feeling nothing happened, and that doesn't matter. That's even that is a perfect meditation. But a lot of times, like it's so interesting because oh wow, I'm holding a stress inside of my shoulders. Amazing. Let me just accept that. Just like I'm accepting what's on the screen of a Netflix series, right? I'm not like, oh, where's that stress come from? Did I have it from too much work? Did I have it from sitting different? No, there you go. And that's okay. If you go there and then you catch yourself, hey, I'm thinking about the stress. Win, win, amazing. And then just observe that. Oh, wow, there's a stress in my shoulders. Let's breathe. Wow. Okay. And maybe just by feeling it and seeing it, it already relaxes a little bit. You're like, wow, okay. And maybe a thought comes like, oh, maybe I'm taking too much weight upon me. Maybe I'm taking too much weight on my shoulders. And you're aware of that thought. Wow. And you keep on watching, right? So the thought is not bad for appearing there. No, it's amazing that the thought is there and you're aware of it. Double win. Amazing. Right? And that's the whole process again and again and again and again. And that's such a pure form of meditation. You don't need guidance for that. You can use guidance for that, but that's also why all the meditations I do, and at the moment I'm using the Akashic records for it, which reminds me I should talk to them. When I'm on a roll, I forget actually that I also wanted them to speak. At the moment, I'm channeling Akashic record meditations for my group coaching, and I will have later this year. I want to uh, display a lot of Akashic alchemy meditations to you. It will come. I need to build the infrastructure for that, and I will do that this summer. Um, by the way, if you want to go to a live meditation, today, the day of recording this, 28th of July, is the start of the Lion's Gate, which will peak at the 8th of August. Now, the Lion's Gate is an amazing opportunity to tap into your passion, to tap into your abundance. It's an alignment in the stars as well. The Sirius star is linked with the sun and with the Leo constellation, and there is a celestial alignment happening. And this day and this period has been revered from many in many cultures. And the Akashic Records said to me, wow, this Lionsgate this year is going to be extremely powerful, and we want to speak to everyone who wants to come. So on the Lionsgate, 8th of August at the peak, I'm going to do a channel, a live channel for all of you. And I'm going to do a live meditation after that, where we immediately integrate whatever they have been saying. So I will channel first information, and then I will channel through the Akashic records a meditation. Now, both of these things are going to be on Zoom, and they're gonna be after each other. It's gonna be one Zoom link, and it's free. And I would love to invite you. If you're here all the way, come, come meditate with us. Come celebrate that. Come move into this portal together with us in a very beautiful way. So it's going to be a 2-hour meeting where it consists of a channel, a big portion of a channel, and a meditation together. And for whoever who wants to stay and connect and talk, I will be there. I will be answering questions. I will be there for as long as you need. But I would love to invite you all. Now, yeah, I was talking about meditations, right? So if you want to experience a meditation before I have set up all of these things, come. Come meditate live with us. It's going to be so good. It also reminded me that I should really let the Akashic records talk about this topic. So let them ask a question. I will ask them a couple of questions. My Akashic record connection really works with questions. And because it's the start of the Lion's Gate, I use a specific way of connecting that is linked with the Sirius prayer. So there are many different prayers you can connect with and different ways you can connect the Akashic records. I use prayers, and it's not prayers in the religious sense. It's a technique. It's a technology, actually. It's a technology that uses the frequency of words to connect. And this one specifically is connected with Sirius. Now, when you come to my school, I will give you ones that are connected with Pleiades, connected with Atlantis, connected with your body composition and your cells. I literally 3 days ago, together with the community, we channeled one that was connected with the spirit of the rainbow, which was a beautiful and powerful prayer. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'm at the moment connected with the Sirius prayer because of the Lion's Gate. And I'm gonna right now just ask them a couple questions from my human self and then just see what comes through. So you really see also my way of channeling them and talking with them. And next to that, I think I want to give them also a voice in this podcast, in this journey. So let's see what they have to say. So the first question that I have for you, Akashic Record beings, is: can you define being for us? Can you define being in a way that makes it, what is it? Why should we do it? And are there any practical ways to live a life from being that doesn't feel like we're doing nothing all the time or we're just meditating all the time, but actually feels meaningful and powerful? Oh, dear one, thank you so much for listening to us, for being here. It's a beautiful question, and we would love to address this. Yes, being is your natural state, your most natural state. And it is the state, if you would not have a prefrontal cortex, what you would live in. It's the state where almost all of your innate natural beings live in. It's therefore a great example when you see a dog running or a cat, or you're watching a nature documentary. You're being bombarded with beings that are in their being. They're in their natural state. And you see sometimes doing them the most miraculous things, like running over different treetops or jumping from tree to tree or running and catching their prey with incredible focus. That's all coming from their being. They're not thinking about how to focus. They're not thinking about what to do next after they catched it. They are completely tuned into the moment. And that is what being really is. Now, your earth and this time of humanity on earth is very much based with the coming out of the mind. The mind needed to be very valued as an essential part of your evolution. That's why humans over the last millennia have been trying to contemplate their mind and what it's able to do and what it's capable of and how to use it in the best way possible. Like streams of psychology on your planet, analysis, great different neuroscience and genetics and epigenetics are all beautiful streams of science that are trying to understand the mind. And then, of course, you have your great philosophers that are doing the same from the inside out, where they're contemplating and meditating and sitting with concepts and viewing their thoughts and ideas and how they originate and how they come into realization. It's therefore a constant journey of evolution, and the mind needed to be on the forefront of the last 2 millennia, and therefore you also needed to feel the pain of only being in your mind. Unfortunately, it is part of the evolution, but you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay in a mental reality, especially if you're still listening to this podcast. What is happening is you're already there. You're already for a bigger part in your being than the average person. Is therefore a great accomplishment and a great celebration to you. Yes, you can give yourself a hug in combination with a deep breath. It's of incredible beauty that you're here right now. And therefore, the only thing you have to do is to let the mind be. Whatever thought is there, let it be there. Whatever emotion is there, let it be there. Let it be. And again, your language is not accurate. Let it be sounds so vague and cliche. It's used in songs, in poems, but it's not fake at all. It's one of the most connected, down to earth states you can be in. And therefore, we would love, if you haven't made the paradigm shift so far, we would really love to let you know that this is the state where everything will work out in your life from. You will find a new level of trust in life. You find a new level of trust in the human being. You find a new level of living and moving with the flow. You find a new level of interconnectedness that you maybe felt cut off from. You find a new level of connection with other humans. You find a new level with using your senses. The state of being is the most natural state. And the mind, or excessive mental activity, is clouding you from this most natural state. But it's only clouding you from something that is already there. Just like the sun is shining even though the day can be cloudy and you don't see the sun, same deal. The sky is blue even though you are only seeing gray clouds. Beyond these gray clouds, the sky is still blue. It's not that the sky isn't blue on that day, it's still there. Actually, the blue sky is encompassing and embracing the clouds. And so your state of being is embracing your clouds of your mind. And it's literally embracing in the most loving way the state of your mind, knowing that one point evolution will bring you there anyway. Some people will reach it on their deathbed. And our intention is to let you reach this way earlier and to let you be so inspired and energized by this new state of being that you share it with your friends and with your family as well. Invite them into it. Make it fun and playful. They will see the change in you when you're really connecting with them and you're really letting the moment move through you. It's a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, your language cannot accurately point you towards it, and therefore smaller, more poetic, more abstract words are being dedicated to this space. It is a space. Quite literally, it is a space. So, whenever you're contemplating it and your mind still tries to understand it, try to make it as literal as can be. If somebody says to you, connect with the infinite space, really take that very literally. Not try to dream it into existence, no. Take it very literally. Your science knows that you're part of infinite space. It's been proven now many, many times. It's been proven more than 110 years ago in your time space continuum at this moment in time. Your body is made out of 99.99% space. So when somebody says connect to the space, really, literally connect to the 99% space that is present in your body. It's present, it's already there. You're made out of it. It's so beautiful how all of these things link together on your planet. Your language is a great help. Your many teachers are a great help. And it's the best time to move into this because the consciousness is rising. And many beings that were afraid of being too much in their being, because it's literally a superpower compared to the mental state, are now not afraid anymore. The times are more safe than ever. You will not be burned at the stake. You will not be assassinated when you're talking. It's a safe place to be alive in. Humans are way more accepting than ever before. And of course, your news will say something different. But guess what the intention is? You already know. We don't have to spend words or thoughts on this. Our intention is to let you feel this power, to be energized by it, to let yourself feel a whole new way of living where everything becomes more high definition, more connected, more vibrant. It's the natural remedy towards depression as well. It's the natural remedy to many sicknesses. The amount of percentage of sicknesses that are at the moment present on your planet that have the root cause as stress is also almost 99%. If 99% of all sicknesses are based upon stress that you're holding in your body, being in your being is a natural remedy towards that. You will feel it clearly, you will see it, and you will step by step relax more and more into a state of stresslessness. It will not be there. You will be open, receptive, flowing with life. There is no stress anymore. Now, this will naturally make you more healthy. But of course, there are parties on your planet that don't like that. They're making a lot of money on your stress. They're making a lot of money on you being stressed. And of course, their incentive is to make more money, as many businesses do. And so, they will capitalize on your stress. They will capitalize on your distraction. They will capitalize on your overwhelm. Yes, this is happening. Can we find some love for that? Can we accept this state? And then you say, okay, this is happening on this planet. Incredible. Now, let me move into a state of being because that's the natural remedy. If I'm in a state of being, I will notice when I get distracted. I will notice when I feel stress. I will notice when I feel overwhelmed. Way more easy and I will be able to relax way more easily, and I will naturally not be linked anymore with these parties that want to distract me, that want to make me sick, and that want to let me be overwhelmed. Dear one, you have the power. And that's why we also instructed this channel to start with this topic. It's a powerful topic to be in. And therefore, thank you for being here. Now, to make this more practical, what we would have shared is already been shared by this channel. But one more thing that can really help you is to start loving your body and to hug it, to massage it, and to tap it frequently. Who doesn't want an extra massage right now? Now, at this moment, you may be able to massage your chest or your shoulder or the inner palm of your hand. You're able to massage maybe your feet or your legs. Maybe there's someone around you and you can ask, hey, would you love to massage my shoulders for a little bit? I need it a little bit. This will place you, of course, in the body, will let a lot of flow happen in the body, and this will make it easier and easier to be centered in this place. Also, it makes it more blissful, and you will be able to tap into so much more that life has to offer from this place. So, next to the breath, the focusing on the body with your mind and with your imagination, to be landing in there as much as possible and to catch your thoughts, massaging yourself, and going or asking for massages for others will be a very practical and very nice way to extend your being practice. We have to be accepted. We have to accept that you have been growing up in a country that really preferred mental activity. And therefore, some patterns need to be unlearned. This is a beautiful process to find yourself in. And therefore, we salute you. We are here to help you. We're here to provide always the context of what it is to be in your being. And so will your guides, and so will your angelic frequencies that are around you. It's a beautiful invitation, and you're already on your way. It's already here. It's the blue sky that it's embracing your clouds, and you can always connect to this blue sky. Dear one, welcome to maybe a new or a deeper level of living. Most of you who are watching this, as we feel, already were on the way. And many of you already took a lot of steps and had a lot of realizations to become more aware of yourself. We salute you. And maybe this was a good reminder or deepened your state a little bit more. Congratulate yourself on that. You're on a powerful, beautiful journey that gets more and more delicious over time and creates more love, more ease, more openness, more flow into the lives of many others. And we need you. The world needs you. Without maybe a pressure that you would feel. Take your time. Be in the process. But know that your gift is here to be given. And many people are ready to receive your love, your wisdom, your openness, your gifts, your qualities, your vibration. And that's why we're here. That's why we're making this vibration more and more available. Because we intend this too. Humankind is ready for it. And so are we. So, dear one, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening so far. If this was of any value, we would love for you to ask to share your insights on this conversation with someone you know. And if they're really interested, you can maybe share a link to this episode, because the frequency that we are exploring here will be of great benefit to most of the planets. And so you may think, maybe I will share later, maybe I'll. If you feel the inspiration and you're still here, we would love to ask you this. It will greatly help, not from an ego perspective, not from a growing the channel perspective. It will greatly help on your planet that more people have this reminder. Thank you for that. And with that, we would also love to share with you that the period that you're in is a very activating period. At this moment, many things are happening on your planet, and it's very good to be centered in your being, because that's the only place you truly know what is really happening. And what you will realize when you're in your being is that the chaos, the turmoil, the politics, the wars are just outer reflections of things that humans were already holding in their being and being not aware of. And because they're not aware of it, it needs to be expressed in weird and chaotic ways. Now, the more we get into our being, the more we can catch these patterns before they happen. And so, instead of letting them be expressed in weird and interesting and explosive and chaotic ways, they will be expressed through inner seeing, through reflection, through love. They will be catched and be loved before they can cause any harm in the outside world. So this is not only a delicious state. This state of being, this state of living, will make your world more harmonious. It will catch all of the patterns of inner conflict and inner war and inner dilemma and inner judgment, inner blame, inner insecurity. It will catch all of it, and it will transmute it, alchemize it into acceptance and love before it is able to do more harm on the planet. That's what is really needed at this moment in time. That's what's really needed on a lot of communities, in a lot of countries. And so we ask you to be a pioneer in this. And even though there have been many beings before you, you stepping into your being play an active role in making this place more harmonious, more clean, more pure, more loving, more accepted. And that's what it's all about. That's what you, a person still listening to these frequencies, came here to do. You're somehow here to create more love, more pureness, more truth, more art, that are all here to make this a more pure place. And it can only really come, or at least your system will move in the most effective way when you are in a state of being. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. We are grateful to have the opportunity to speak to you. We will see you soon, and we will keep on recording your journey. Whenever you're ready, feel free to connect with us and feel the frequency of this Akashic field. We're here to welcome all who are ready. Wow. Mm. So, wow, that was beautiful. That was wow. I love their frequency so much. I always need a moment to come back. Ah, yeah, their wisdom is truly special, and it's guiding my life in incredible ways. And I feel at this moment very honored to be guided by them and to share their vibration with you. It's been the biggest and most authentic and honest thing that I have done so far in my life. And I have the feeling this is just the start of a lot of beautiful shifts, a lot of beautiful wisdom, a lot of higher consciousness, vibrations that are coming through this planet, and more beautiful and instant practices that come with it. I love it. At the moment, I feel quite complete on the topic of being. And I would love to also let us finish with a couple of breaths. Now, like I said earlier, if you want to come to the Lion's Gate, you will have a channel like we just had, and we also want to do a meditation together, also channeled by the Akashic Records. They have the intention to really make the best out of this Lion's Gate possible. So would love to invite you. It's free. It's on my website. You can go to the link. You can sign up there. There is a little form, and there's also a Zoom registration link. And with that, you will be invited. You will have the link, and I would love to have you. I would love to meet you. Um, and I would love to thank you for being here all the way to the end of this first episode of the Akashic Record podcast. In future episodes, I really want to have a little bit more of a conversation with them. Now it was just me and then a big channel, but actually, I want to do smaller chunks of me with channel, and it's me and channel and me and channel. Um, that will arise. This is perfect as it is now. This was perfect as it is now. I don't want to change anything about it. Let's close off with a couple of deep breaths so that after this video you stay in your being. And from this place you can feel what is true to you. So let's take a big deep breath in through the nose. Feel the air moving into your body. Feel your belly expanding. Feel your chest expanding. And whenever you feel full, hold it for a little bit. And then just exhale slowly and softly. Again, feel the air and land into yourself. Another big deep breath in, where we just catch the deliciousness of the air and any focus that's still on the mind. As soon as we exhale, we let that focus fall into the body and be aware of all of these beautiful parts of your body, all these beautiful parts of your being. One more. And just feel the love as you exhale. Feel yourself being embraced by this blue, clear sky that is always there to catch you out of your mental patterns and move you into a state of delicious connectedness with the current precious present moment. Let's stay in our being. Let's be. To be or not to be? That's a question that hopefully you have a little better capability now to answer that question for yourself. Thank you, dear one. Thank you for listening to this episode. I deeply appreciate you. I feel the people that are connecting with this as I'm doing this, and you are amazing. You're beautiful souls. I feel honored to be here. I feel honored that somehow the internet or YouTube or for whatever reason we came together. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again, whenever that may be. I will not hold myself to any rigorous structure anymore. I will let everything that I will share to the best of my ability come from this state of being. So let's see when that will be. Love you so much. Bye bye. See you the next time.